Imagine a world united under a single ruler, a vast empire stretching from Greece to India, forged in just over a decade. This isn't a fantasy novel. It's the real-life story of one man who, by the age of 32, had conquered the known world. He was a king, a general, a demigod in the eyes of many. His name was Alexander the Great, and his story is one of ambition, brilliance, and relentless conquest that forever changed the course of history. Born in 356 BCE in the kingdom of Macedon, Alexander was no ordinary prince. His father was King Philip II, a brilliant military strategist who had transformed Macedon into a formidable power. His mother, the fiery Olympias, claimed descent from the mythical hero Achilles. From birth, Alexander was told he was destined for greatness. This belief was cultivated by his tutor, none other than the legendary philosopher Aristotle. For 3 years, Aristotle taught the young prince everything from philosophy and medicine to ethics and politics, instilling in him a deep curiosity about the world and a thirst for knowledge that would last his entire life. In 336 BCE, this world was shattered. King Philip II was assassinated by his own bodyguard, plunging the kingdom into chaos. In the ensuing turmoil, the 20-year-old Alexander acted with terrifying speed. He executed his rivals to the throne without hesitation, and then marched his army south into Greece, where cities like Thebes had rebelled, thinking the Macedonian threat was over. Alexander made an example of Thebes, razing it to the ground. The message was clear. Macedon was stronger than ever, and he was now its undisputed master. With Greece firmly under his control, he turned his gaze to his father's ultimate dream, the invasion of the mighty Persian Empire. In the spring of 334 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor. His army was small compared to the vast forces of Persia, numbering around 40,000 men. But they were battle-hardened veterans, fiercely loyal to their young king. Their first major test came at the Granicus River. The Persians held the high ground on the opposite bank, a seemingly impossible position to attack. Against the advice of his generals, Alexander led a daring cavalry charge straight across the river and up the muddy banks. The audacious move shattered the Persian lines. It was a stunning victory that opened up all of Asia Minor to his conquest and announced his arrival on the world stage. Alexander marched south along the coast, liberating Greek cities from Persian rule. Near the town of Issus, he finally met the full might of the Persian army, led by King Darius III himself. Though vastly outnumbered, Alexander spotted a weakness. He led his elite companion cavalry in a direct, lightning-fast charge at Darius. Panicked, the great king of Persia fled the battlefield, causing his entire army to collapse. Following this victory, Alexander laid siege to the island fortress of Tyre. For 7 months, the city resisted. Undeterred, Alexander ordered his engineers to build a massive causeway from the mainland to the island, a feat of engineering that stands to this day. After conquering Tyre, he marched into Egypt, where he was welcomed not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. The Egyptians declared him a pharaoh and a son of the god Amun. It was here, at the mouth of the Nile, that he founded the first and most famous of his many cities, Alexandria. Darius, desperate to save his empire, gathered another massive army and chose a wide-open plain near Gaugamela for the final showdown. This time, he wouldn't be trapped by geography. The Persian force, with its scythed chariots and war elephants, was immense. But Alexander's tactical genius shone brightest when the odds were longest. He used an unorthodox strategy, advancing with his right wing at an angle, baiting the Persians to overextend. Once again, this created a gap in their line. And once again, Alexander led a decisive charge straight for Darius. The Persian king fled a second time, and his empire was effectively broken. Alexander marched triumphantly into Babylon, the jewel of Mesopotamia. He then moved on to the Persian ceremonial capital, Persepolis. In a move still debated by historians, He ordered the magnificent city to be burned to the ground, an act of revenge for Persia's invasion of Greece a century and a half earlier. With the Persian heartland secured, Alexander's ambition only grew. He was no longer just a Macedonian king. He saw himself as the ruler of Asia. He pushed his army eastward into the rugged, uncharted territories of Bactria and Sogdia, modern-day Afghanistan and Central Asia. Here, he faced years of brutal guerrilla warfare against fierce local warlords. It was a different kind of war, one of ambushes and sieges in harsh, mountainous terrain. It was during this campaign that he captured the Sogdian Rock, a supposedly impregnable fortress. There, he met and married Roxana, the daughter of a local chieftain, a political marriage aimed at uniting his Greek and Eastern subjects and pacifying the rebellious region. In 327 BCE, Alexander did the unthinkable. He led his army over the Hindu Kush mountains and into India. He had heard tales of the subcontinent's incredible wealth and its powerful kingdoms. On the banks of the Hydaspes River, he faced his most challenging opponent yet, King Porus and his army of 200 war elephants. In a tactical masterpiece, Alexander secretly crossed the swollen river during a thunderstorm and attacked Porus's flank. The battle was ferocious. The Macedonians had never faced war elephants before, and the fighting was brutal. Despite heavy losses, Alexander's superior strategy won the day. He was so impressed by King Porus's bravery that he not only let him keep his kingdom, but also gave him more territory. Alexander wanted to push on, to march to the ends of the world, which he believed lay just beyond the Ganges River. But his army had finally reached its breaking point. After 8 years of constant marching and fighting, thousands of miles from home, his men mutinied. At the Hyphasis River, they refused to go any further. Furious and disappointed, Alexander was forced to turn back. The journey home was a disaster. He chose to lead a portion of his army through the treacherous Chadrosian Desert, an arid wasteland in modern-day Pakistan. Thousands of his soldiers and their followers died from heat, starvation, and thirst. It was a brutal end to the Indian campaign, a stark reminder of the human cost of his relentless ambition. He finally returned to Babylon in 323 BCE. His mind was already racing with new plans. An invasion of Arabia, a circumnavigation of Africa, further campaigns in the West. He was consolidating his vast, multicultural empire, blending Greek and Persian customs, and planning the future. But that future would never come. After a prolonged bout of drinking at a banquet, Alexander fell ill with a raging fever. For 10 days, his condition worsened until he was unable to speak. On June 11th, 323 BCE, Alexander the Great, ruler of the largest empire the world had ever seen, died. He was just 32 years old. The cause of his death remains one of history's great mysteries. Was it poison, malaria, typhoid fever, or something else? We will likely never know for sure. The death of Alexander threw his empire into immediate chaos. He had no clear heir. When asked on his deathbed to whom he left his kingdom, he allegedly whispered, "To the strongest." This set the stage for 50 years of brutal civil war among his top generals, the Diadochi, as they fought to carve up the vast territories he had conquered. His empire was shattered into several new kingdoms, including the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt and the Seleucid Empire in Persia. Yet Alexander's true legacy was not the empire he built, but the world he created in its wake. His conquests shattered the barriers between East and West, kicking off the Hellenistic Age. For the next 300 years, Greek language, art, and philosophy spread across Asia, fusing with local traditions to create a vibrant new culture that influenced everything from religion to science. His military tactics are still studied at war colleges today, and his life story continues to inspire leaders, adventurers, and dreamers. From a young prince of a backwater kingdom to the master of the known world, Alexander's life was a whirlwind of breathtaking achievement. He was a brilliant strategist, a fearless leader, and a man driven by an insatiable desire for glory and discovery. Though his empire crumbled, his legacy endured, shaping the world in ways we still feel today. He remains a titan of history, a figure whose ambition and genius continue to fascinate and inspire us more than 2 millennia later. What do you think is Alexander's most important legacy? Was he a visionary uniter of cultures or a ruthless conqueror? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love diving into the stories of history's greatest figures, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. Thanks for watching.